I'd like now to introduce Minister of Agriculture Oded, who is also a former Director General of the Ministry of Aliyah and Absorption. Welcome, Minister Four.
Hi, how are you?
Great. So I want to start by actually just asking you a little bit about Ukraine. There were thousands of Ukrainian refugees whose lives were saved because we had the law of return, a place for them to go. Would you say that the law worked well in this instance? Why? Why not?
First of all, I think that the law worked well, as it did for the last decade since 1970, the time when it changed, and then also a grandson of a Jew could do Aliyah to Israel. Of course, there are many bureaucracy that needs to be changed in the way that newcomers are absorbed in Israel, but the law of return, it's a core issue. I think it's a very important base for the fact that Jews are no longer refugees around the world. This is, I think, the main goal of the State of Israel, that since 1948, when the State of Israel was reestablished, a Jew or a son of a Jew or a grandson of a Jew will never be a refugee around the world because he has a home, it's the homeland of the Jewish people, and that's the State of Israel.
Amazing. Now, in the outgoing government, just talk a little bit about what you did and what Finance Minister Avigdor Lieberman did to help immigrants better acclimate to Israeli society and facilitates the conversions for those who wanted to convert.
First of all, I want to talk about the ability to absorb here in Israel. And I also serve as not only as the Minister of Agriculture, but also as the Minister of the Development for the Negev and the Galil. And I led a cabinet decision about absorption of newcomers, of Olim, to the Negev and the Galil. And actually a budget of 22 million shekels from the Ministry of Negev and Galil went for absorption of Aliyah in the Negev, in the Galil. That's a decision that we got just when the war between Russia and Ukraine started, in order to tell people, please come to the Negev and the Galil. You will get even more than the State of Israel gives to any Oleh that comes to Israel if you come to the Negev and the Galil. And we also helped the local authorities in order to absorb all those people. In addition, of course, the Finance Minister, Avigdor Lieberman, put a budget of 90 million shekels just a few months ago in order to help the Ministry of Absorption to absorb, and the government actually financed a lot of hotel rooms in order to help those people when they came to Israel without the authorization that they can do Aliyah. We said, okay, first of all, come to Israel. We will make the change and we will make all the checklists that we need to do here in Israel. We will do it fast, but in the meantime, you'll be able to sleep. We will have a place to sleep. You will have something to eat. And of course, we will take care of your children. I think that when you look at what Israel's done in the last year for the refugees from Ukraine, and I have to say many people that came also from Russia in the last year, you see that the State of Israel has done much more than many countries around the world in order to help the refugees of this war. I think that we can be very proud about conversion and about doing the Giyur in Israel. Unfortunately, we didn't succeed to legislate the law that will allow the local rabbis in Israel to do conversion as it was before 1993, I think, when it changed, and then only the chief rabbi could do the conversion. Unfortunately, this government didn't succeed in order to pass this legislation, and probably in the next government we will see some changes that I'm really worried about.
Interesting. Yeah, speaking of what's going to happen as we move forward and we form a government in the coming days or weeks, your party, of course, is not expected to be part of that government, but your party wants to keep the law of return. The Jerusalem Post actually reported that Russians are coming here, taking money from the benefits and leaving. The Russians who want to come here are already here. So isn't it time to change the law? Why not make a change?
For people that want actually just to come, take the money and leave, and they can do it even if the law of return will be changed, and only a Jew by halacha will be able to do Aliyah. I have to say that this is something which is unacceptable, And we actually don't give the money for the people that come and live, and if they leave, they have a debt here that they owe to the state of Israel. And I think we cannot take the exceptional and making this is the rule about everybody. The majority of the Olim stays in Israel, build their homes in Israel, and of course help to the state of Israel to build itself. If I would look just on the over 1 million Olim that came from former Soviet Union since the 1990s, they changed the face of the state of Israel for the better. They helped us in security issues, in science, in research, in development, and in medicine. I can't imagine the state of Israel in 2022 without this majority of Aliyah that came from former Soviet Union. So I have to say about the change of the law of return, I'm really worried about it. It's enough to take a look at the discussion that was in the Knesset in those days when they changed it and they allowed the grandson of a Jew to come to Israel also, and to read what our founding fathers told about the importance of the Aliyah, of the immigrant absorption here in Israel, to learn and to understand what a mission we have now. And imagine for yourself a son of a Jew that is now in Ukraine with 2 little kids that they are not Jewish by halakha, maybe by some rabbis here in Israel. But when they went to school there, they were called Jid or Jews, and actually were hunted because of their Judaism. And now this guy that his father is a Jew, he has his mother is not Jewish by halakha, and he wants to come with his little kids to Israel. He can't come because those kids won't get a citizenship. This is a very important issue in the way that the state of Israel sees herself, and in the way that actually the Zionist movement that reestablished the state of Israel here on the land of Israel wanted this state to be. Unfortunately, I think that those that want to change the law now probably wouldn't let many heroes of the state of Israel to do Aliyah decades ago. And I don't want to start and talk about all the issues that we already had. Also today we are celebrating the Sigd. It's the holiday of the Ethiopian Jews that came here. And even on this issue, we had a very long days of argument that actually Rabbi Ovadia Yosef cut this argument and said they are Jews. And he was suffered from a lot of shame from the Ashkenazi rabbis, and still he had the ability to stand as an important rabbi in the Halakha and to say they are Jews. Unfortunately, I don't see anyone like him that can make decisions like that, and changing the law of return will actually hurt the core of the state of Israel.
So last question, you talked about who decides who is halachically Jewish, who is Jewish when they come over here. Do they need to convert, not need to convert? How will they be accepted? Which law will they get, return or grant citizenship? Is it good for the state of Israel to bring non-Jews into the country who do not identify as Jewish? Why or why not?
First of all, I have to say they need to identify as Jewish. You need to understand that in the law of return, if you take a Jew that converted his Judaism and became a Christian, by halakha, he's a Jew. You can't become a Christian and then not be a Jew. You're still a Jew. So he's Jewish by halakha. He can't come to Israel by the law of return because he converted his Judaism to Christian. And that's, I think, a very good example to show about the nationality of the state of Israel. If I'm talking about, for example, a son of a Jewish father, and not a Jewish mother. He sees himself as a Jew. He's identified with the state of Israel. He actually, his destiny is chained together with the destiny of the state of Israel and the people of Israel. So I think this is our obligation to absorb him in Israel and to help him. We need to understand the very historic moment that now we are in. We are now, after 2,000 years of exile for the Jewish people, and the Jewish people starts to return to his homeland. This is the situation. We think that after 74, almost 75 years that the state of Israel exists, we finished our mission. We did not. Still, the majority of the Jewish people doesn't live in the state of Israel. We need to absorb this aliyah. This is the mission. this is actually, I think, also a Jewish mission and a national mission for the state of Israel. And we can't do it by starting measuring some religious, how much are you religious or not religious. In the Jewish Judaism, the important thing is if you connected yourself to the Jewish people, to the state of Israel, and if you are standing in some conditions that we have had, and then I think then the state of Israel and the majority of the Jewish people will live here, and then will become what we wanted to be when we reestablish the state of Israel. We can start talking about this, but this is not the time. We are now still in the process. We need to absorb more and more Aliyah. It's important for our security. It's important for our economy. It's important for the development of the state of Israel as the homeland of the Jewish people.
Wonderful. So, Minister Foer, is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't, or anything you wanted to add that you think people should know?
I think that people should know that looking at the Jewish people is not only from the point of view of one government or the other. We need to look upon the history and upon the important mission that we have here in the state of Israel after 2,000 years of exile. And from that point, I see the Jews, the Jewish people, the Jews that lives abroad, that lives around the world as partners, as a whole, and the connection between the diaspora and Israel is important also for the development of the state of Israel. So I'm really worried about the actually now are abroad in the diaspora. And I think that this is a point that we need to strengthen, and we need to understand that we have an obligation for our history and for our future to start thinking together about the whole Jewish people, and not to let some extremists to decide about the destiny of the Jewish people, because we are in a very unique period in history, and we have a mission and we have an obligation for the history and the future of the Jewish people, and we need to do it together, the Jews that lives in Israel and the one that doesn't.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Minister Foer.
Thank you.